You woke up this morning. You woke up this morning in a warm bed. You checked your phone before your feet hit the floor. You probably had more food in your kitchen than a small village would have seen in a week 200,000 years ago, and yet something still felt off. A low hum of unease you couldn't quite name. A tightness, a readiness for something that never came. That feeling has a reason, and the reason is far stranger than you think. Your brain did not evolve for this world. It evolved for a world that no longer exists. Every morning, you carry inside your skull a machine built for survival in the Pleistocene, a 3-pound organ tuned over hundreds of thousands of years to track threats, conserve energy, watch other people's faces, and never, ever relax. Not because relaxing is wrong, but because for most of human history, relaxing too completely could get you killed. Neuroscientist and evolutionary psychologist Mark Schaller calls this the behavioral immune system, a set of deeply wired responses that were never about logic. They were about speed. Your brain learned to treat ambiguity as danger, to treat unfamiliar as threat, to treat stillness as vulnerability, and that learning happened long before written language, long before cities, long before any of this. So here you are, a Pleistocene brain in a 21st century world. And the mismatch is everywhere if you know where to look. Think about why you find it so hard to ignore a notification. Not because you are weak, not because you have poor discipline, because for hundreds of thousands of years, any sudden signal in your environment, a rustle, a snap, a flash of movement, had to be investigated immediately. Ignoring it could mean missing a predator, missing a rival, missing food. Your attention system was never designed to ignore a ping. It was designed to react to it first and ask questions later. Psychologist Daniel Levitin, in his research on the distracted mind, found that the average person switches attention every 47 seconds when working with screens. 47 seconds. That is not laziness. That is your ancient attention system doing exactly what it was built to do. Constantly scanning, never fully settling, always asking, is something more important happening somewhere else? It was the perfect strategy in a savanna. It is a liability in an open-plan office, and it goes deeper than distraction. Think about how your body responds to social rejection. Someone ignores your message. A meeting goes quiet after your idea. You feel it physically. Your chest tightens. Your stomach shifts. Your brain registers the event the same way it registers physical pain. That is not melodrama. That is accurate wiring. Because for most of human existence, being excluded from the group was not a social inconvenience, it was a death sentence. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, who famously calculated that the human brain is calibrated to maintain roughly 150 stable social relationships at once, argues that social belonging was the central survival mechanism of our species. You did not survive alone. You survived because you were part of a group, and your brain never stopped treating exclusion as an emergency. That is why a single critical comment can knock out 10 compliments. Why you replay an awkward conversation at 2 in the morning, running every possible version of what you should have said. Your brain is not torturing you. It is trying to protect you from the thing it fears most, being cast out. Now think about your relationship with sugar, fat, and salt. You know these things, in excess, are not good for you. You know this intellectually, and yet, the craving still comes. The bag of chips calls. The second piece of cake becomes inevitable. You are not broken. You are functioning exactly as designed. Because in the ancestral environment, sweet meant ripe fruit, dense with fast energy. Fat meant calorie-rich food that could fuel days of movement. Salt was scarce and precious, necessary for nerve function and fluid balance. Your brain evolved powerful reward systems around these things because they were rare and vital. Get them when you can. Store them when you can. Never assume they will be there tomorrow. Today, they are everywhere. Every corner, every screen, every vending machine. But your reward system did not update its software. It still treats a bag of chips like your ancestor finding a beehive. A jackpot. Something to pursue and consume completely. Researcher Stephen Guyenet, in his work on the hungry brain, describes this as a system not of rational choice, but of deep biological programming. Your dopamine circuitry does not know you live in a world of abundance. It knows what to want. It does not know when to stop. And this brings us to the part that most people never examine, your negativity bias. Psychologists Roy Baumeister and John Tierney documented extensively what researchers now call the negativity effect. The simple, brutal fact that bad experiences leave a deeper mark on the brain than equally good ones. You remember the insult more than the compliment. You feel a loss more sharply than an equal gain. You notice what is wrong in a room faster than what is right. Why? Because in an uncertain ancestral world, the cost of missing a threat was catastrophic. Death, injury, loss of status. But the cost of missing an opportunity was merely a missed meal. Asymmetry like that produces asymmetric wiring. The brain that overweighted threats survived. The brain that gave equal attention to pleasures and dangers did not. So your brain runs a threat detection system that is permanently biased toward the negative. It scans every room for the one hostile face. It loops on every uncertain outcome. It builds models of worst-case scenarios and runs them on repeat. Not because the world is that dangerous anymore, because the brain that did that survived long enough to be your brain. Now, here is where it gets strange. Because you are not a passive victim of this hardware. You are living proof that it can be redirected. The same social bonding system that makes rejection feel like death, that same system produces the deepest human warmth you have ever felt. The same attention system that cannot stop scanning for threat is what lets you notice the exact moment a friend's expression changes. The same negativity bias that replays your failures is what drives you to solve problems most people stop trying to solve. Your cave brain is not your enemy. It is the most sophisticated survival device that 400,000 years of iteration ever produced. But it was built for a world of scarcity, predators, and tight social groups. The challenge is not to silence it. The challenge is to understand it well enough to use it without being used by it. Neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett, whose research on emotion construction has reshaped how psychologists think about the brain, argues that you have more influence over your brain's predictions than you realize. The brain is a prediction machine. It is constantly building models of what comes next based on what happened before. And those models can be updated. Not easily, not instantly, but deliberately. When you understand that your exhaustion at the end of a workday is partly your ancient energy conservation system concluding there is no immediate survival need to keep going, you can work with it, not against it. When you understand that the anxiety before a public presentation is the same system that used to scan for predators before you stepped into an open clearing, you can name it for what it is: an ancient alarm. Not evidence that danger is real. This is the strange gift hiding inside the mismatch. Once you see the machine, you stop being fully run by it. You live in a world your ancestors could not have imagined. Instant communication, abundant food, near total physical safety, at least for those fortunate enough to have it. And your brain is still back in the cave, scanning the tree line, counting the faces of the group, wondering if that sound in the dark means something is coming. Every distraction you fight, every craving you feel, every social rejection that hurts more than it logically should, those are not character flaws. Those are the exact features that kept your lineage alive long enough to produce you. The question is not how to escape your ancient brain. The question is, what happens when the creature built for the cave finally understands what it's running from? And the answer might surprise you, because this morning, when you woke up in that warm bed and felt that low, nameless unease, you were not broken. You were exactly as your ancestors made you. The only difference is now you know it.